Technology is wonderful. We're so appreciative of it. It works when it wants to work and it does what it wants to do. Thank you all for joining to have this conversation as we're kicking off our monthly and weekly celebrations in honor of Women's History Month. And before we go any further, just want to give a round of applause and a clap to all the women trailblazers that have gone before us and served within communities, within ministry, within their families, within education, within the political era. We can identify with women that have opened up the doors for us to be where we are today. So a salute and an applause to all of the trailblazers that have paved the way for us. And we're celebrating the work that they have done. And we're here present to give to the future generation coming behind us. I am your host today, Vaughn Griggs, as president of Joy Restored Outreach, my nonprofit, where we provide services and housing for the unhoused female veterans with children. I have with me today some phenomenal women joining from all over North America. My co-host, Ms. Sarah Mitchell, speaker Eliza Carter, speaker LaSandra Butler, and Latoya Carr Griggs, my namesake. So welcome to all of you that have joined us today. And I'm sorry, our tech support, Miss Ebony Griner, currently serving with the U.S. Navy. And we're going to kick it right off. We're going to be with you about an hour. I want our guests to, if you can, I see someone's driving, don't go into the chat. If you're driving, please pull over. We don't want an incident. But yeah, you're free to put comments in the chat. So this year, the National Women's History theme is Women Providing Healing and Promoting Hope. Each of our panelists today are certified, authorized within their specific areas of responsibility and their skill set, and they're going to equally share with you what they do to support our title of Providing Healing and Promoting Hope. So over to you, Miss Sarah. Would you please introduce yourself and let our listening audience know why you're here today? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I was the founder of the Collin County Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. That is nonpartisan. That actually led me into partisan work, since I noticed that a lot of the supportive politicians were in fact Democratic. So I am now the president of Women Organizing Women Democrats in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I also have a nonprofit that I started in 2019 that provides resources, community, and support to the pregnancy, loss, and infant death community. It is called ELF Army of Light. And that is actually, since all of those obviously affect women, that is why I am here, because every single one of them allows us to empower and uplift women voices, regardless of the pain that we've had in the past. Doesn't mean there's a purpose for it. It means that we can make a purpose out of it. So I am really excited to be able to just hopefully provide some hope today. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Sarah. Really appreciate you being here. Okay, Miss Eliza D. Carter.
Well, greetings, everyone. I am so grateful to be here today. As the CEO and founder of the Breathing Experience movement, I have to say that this all started with a health issue that I had back in 2012. And so I've realized that if I didn't find some natural remedies to process through my own stress, get off of some high blood pressure medications, and I would find myself being more aggravated than ever. So I provide self-therapeutic tools, and I specialize working with women who are so amazing, like we all are here now, who are stressed, overwhelmed with just the daily activities of life and need to process through it quickly and effectively and show up on the happier side, the healthier side, and the more resilient side of life, because we all have tools that we could tap into once we know what they are to use effectively and to live out the quality of life that we so deserve.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Eliza. Okay, Miss LaSandra Butler.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm here to talk about massage therapy and how it benefits you in so many areas of your life, from your physical well-being to your emotional well-being, to even to your mental well-being. So I'm here today to support SpaNeads. It's an organization here in Dallas where we actually go out and do outcall services, on-demand services for people who are looking for that relief, whether it be stress relief, tension relief, sports massage, to just help with any of the ailments that you have. So we look forward to serving anyone who's here in the area, and I look forward to sharing that information with you today.
Great, LaSandra. Thank you very much. And Miss Latoya Carr Griggs.
All right, absolutely. So, hello everyone. I am Latoya Carr Griggs from Meridian, Mississippi. I love life and I love to live life to the fullest. I'm an inspirational speaker, an author, and also a transformational coach. And I empower women to lead healthier lifestyles using nutritional planning, weight loss education, and wellness evolution. So, I am the founder of Live Well with Latoya. And I look forward to just teaching women how to refine, realign, and redesign their living so that they can imagine or reimagine their freedom.
That's good.
The 3 R's. Okay, I picked up the 3 R's. All right, well, we're going to jump right in. And again, to our joining audience, wherever you're coming in from around the globe, we welcome you. Feel free to put your questions or comments in the chat. Support our panelists. And as again, they're going to share information with you that you'll be able to follow up with each and every one of them as you may choose. So Sarah, I'll start with you. While our theme is providing healing and promoting hope, typically when we think of a healer, right, we're thinking of someone that provides meditation or physical treatment, whether that's, you have a severe cut, a broken bone, so you go to a physician to get the bone reset and put in a cast. But what I hear from all of you is that within your skill set, in your profession, you're providing healing in a totally different way. Sarah, you said you identified that there was a great need amongst African-American women. Go ahead and speak more to that, would you please?
Absolutely. So in the pregnancy, loss, and infant death community, we already have a tough time saying, something isn't right. This doesn't, feel correct, or this pain isn't normal. So as women, it's already difficult enough to share that and really get that understood. But yes, women of color specifically are especially vulnerable in the pregnancy, loss, and infant death space, because there are still biases within the medical community where you will get this like, oh, that pain is normal, or, oh, you have a higher threshold for pain. No, none of this is accurate. So it's just really important to be able to be empowered and provide that hope and that, ability to say, no, this is not okay, and I need help. So it's nice to be able to build that community and be able to share it with each other, because you're right. Like, healing doesn't necessarily always mean something physical and, scars that you can see. A lot of times it is internal trauma, and being able to have someone acknowledge and share and just be there with you is huge. Like, that is healing. Like, after the death of my daughter, when I was in Moms Demand Action, my group of leaders, they didn't say anything painful, because a lot of times, people mean very well, but they say phenomenally hurtful things. But they would just show up. They had a meal train, and they would just say, we're here, we love you, just take that, here is food. One of my leaders gave me a tree, which I actually still have, like, in memory of my daughter. Another one, gave me a necklace with her name on it that I still wear today. Like, healing does come in many forms. It is emotional, for some it is spiritual. It is something that needs to take place inside and out. So yes, no, it's wonderful. And I love that we have, the massage therapist on here, because it's true. Like, it is absolutely a mental health aspect as well, because it allows us to just like breathe and release and be able to work through. A lot of people think, some of you might have seen that meme where it's like, people think like there's this jar and like your grief like gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But the reality is that the grief stays the same size and the jar is shaped around it. So being able to actually share with each other and being able to heal and promote hope in that way, where it's like, yes, that pain was awful, that trauma was awful, and it sucked. And we can find a way to step together through this.
That's good.
That's so beneficial to hear. You said several things, the loss of your daughter.
Yeah.
So you experienced that loss, and then the post-trauma and the community
Yes.
supporting you. And one key thing that I don't want to like breeze over, sometimes we really don't know the right thing to say or the appropriate
Yes.
thing, but being present can speak volumes. It
Yes.
really can. Just being there and sometimes listening, let that person have that breakdown when they need
Yes.
to, but saying nothing, because what we think may be appreciative or supportive could very well be another blow or a deeper sting than
Yes.
what that person is already dealing with. And the different types of forms of healing, it doesn't have to be one segue and that's the only way, because people heal in stages. So that was so great that you shared that, and I really appreciate. And lastly, that you identified the need that we have with Black women.
Yes.
I want to say I appreciate you recognizing that, because you're on a panel with us and everybody see what we look like, and mentioning what we look like. Please go ahead, tag, share, invite others to be a part of this discussion. And you all that are watching or listening, you have a part in the conversation as well. All right, so Sarah, we really appreciate that. And I want to ask one question, and any of you can write this down because it might apply to what you're doing in your practices as well. Why is it that women of color typically are not getting the medical treatment or seeking? I would think most women are doctor prone. We're going to go to a physician before man would, right?
It's so true.
So we're going to do that, right? Or we're going to talk to our girlfriends like, something's going on. I'm not really sure what this is. We're going to talk about it. Usually, I'd say 90% of the time. But why has it been identified that women of color are slow to get the medical treatment?
Great question. No, and it's true when it comes to men and women. So I'm also like on like the insurance side, and it's funny because how often we're like, okay, for the women, like we can get the doctor records on these other things, and the men is like, oh no, I don't have a primary care physician. It's like, this is why you don't live longer. But you're right. Like as women, especially, we're like, hey, something is going on. But you're right. Like women of color specifically, because generally are already in communities that are marginalized and not paid attention to, and specifically systematically, underdeveloped, or specifically like put to the side, separate but equal and all that. Whereas in the medical community, there is still some of that bias, and it's not intentional in most cases. However, it is very much still there. John Oliver, actually with Last Week Tonight, did a beautiful and amazing deep dive into bias in the medical community. And a lot of doctors were just like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely still the case. Because you had people that were like, yes, I was told that, Black people have thicker skins and therefore tolerance of pain is higher. And it's just like, how do we still believe this? How is this still a thing? Or, as women, again, it's the case where it's like, oh, well, yeah, period is supposed to hurt. Or, oh yeah, pregnancy is supposed to be uncomfortable. It's like, but there is a threshold. There is something where it's like, this isn't right. And no, Black women aren't, more tolerant of pain. Like, do you even hear yourself? So I don't, in most cases, think it's intentional on behalf of, the medical community, but in some cases, it's that need to recognize the biases and the systemic issues that haven't actually been addressed and acknowledged, and be able to actually have that, yes, it can be an uncomfortable conversation, but it is so important. And we're seeing that in so many aspects of our lives, where it's like, oh, well, that's an uncomfortable conversation, so I don't want to have it. I'll just pretend it doesn't exist. It's like, no, like, yes, it will be uncomfortable. That's why we have to face it, so that we can make sure that women in the future don't have this happen.
Right, historically, it's not passed on. Thank you for acknowledging the need. Thank you for what you're doing within your community and your area of responsibility. And what I know you just did, you educated a few others that are here present, as well as those that are listening. And the good thing about it, with the recording, they'll have access to go back and share and replay with others as well. Thank you very much. That is so important. Miss Eliza, go ahead and tell us why you're on the journey that you're on with the breathing techniques.
Well, 55% African-American adults have high blood pressure. 30% of us don't even know it. That's scary. And it's simply because we don't monitor our blood pressure. And I believe one of the main reasons, because I started my counseling experience working with pregnant women who had to get tested for HIV on the onslaught of the epidemic back in the 90s. And, it was very scary because a lot of them didn't want to get tested. And when they tested positive, they couldn't figure out where they got it from. So, when I look back over the history of time that I've worked as a counselor in the system, we've always been treated differently, simply because one thing is that we don't go to the doctors because we're afraid, number one. And the sad thing about being afraid is that the problem doesn't go away until you address it, And then secondly, when we get there, we're not fairly treated. So it makes us withdraw from going consistently, but we don't put the practices in place to help us, whether it's the food, monitoring your blood pressure, doing regular exercise, and really paying attention that your body is constantly talking to you. So you can't ignore the fact that if your pressure's high, you got a headache constantly, or if you're feeling dizzy, or if your appetite has changed, you have to address it, because once again, if it goes unaddressed, it just continues to grow, and we wind up having this sickness and disease that we could avoid, because the truth is it's all preventable. So I began my journey because I went to school for law first. And when I finished paralegal studies, I found out this was not my niche. I did not want to do this. This was my parents' dream.
Okay.
So I actually applied for a job that I was not qualified for, but I knew that I had the gifting of a counselor, because I've been counseling since about the age of 11, my peers. So when I went to apply for this job, they hired me and put me through school for free. So that's how I became an HIV pre and post test counselor, reproductive health counselor. But I got burnt out because I was trying to save everybody's life, and the process of seeing, there's so much disparities, and it just hardened my heart. And this is what we got to realize about high blood pressure. When your cortisone levels constantly go up, it creates, that friction in the heart valves, and eventually, you'll wind up with high blood pressure. And so I did not know I had high blood pressure, because, it's considered as a silent killer because it doesn't always have signs and symptoms. And people don't believe that, but that's really the truth. And so when I went to the doctor, when I was going into menopause, I'm like, he says to me, Eliza, your blood pressure has been high the last 3 times you've been here. I'm putting you on medication. And it sent me into a tizzy, but I knew I had to do it, because it was about saving my life, my quality of being, So I got on a high blood pressure medication, but as I started taking it, I started having pains on my side. So I said to the doctor, you have me on the lowest dosage. Is this medication right for me, So he tried a different medication, still the same experiences. And what I found out after doing the research and having the legal background is when I looked online at the class actions, my actual medication had been recalled. And see, so, we don't always check all the different areas that could be causing us to have these issues when it comes to the medications, because we don't do the research to see what the side effects are. But I'm one that did check out to see the side effects. And I was scared from the beginning. So, it made me even more afraid. But I knew now, when I began to say to myself, I know there's got to be some type of natural remedy for me. So I began to pray and ask God to show me. I went and began to just do the research, and I could not believe, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on here, what showed up: deep diaphragmatic breathing. I was like, it cannot be this easy, but it was. Now, it took me to go to a couple of different classes, and this is the other component. There were no classes happening in the United States at the time. I had to get classes out of the UK, because we were not promoting the natural remedies, and what I mean? It was just not here. So I took the classes, and I began to do the inner work. I first had to discover what were my stressors, what was stressing me out. What times a day was it stressing me out? And when I began to figure out all of those components and begin to add the breathing in and the meditation, the tension relief exercises, and a few secret sauces that I can't tell you about. But when I began to do those components, breathing became my best friend, because we take it for granted. We don't think any problems going on with our breath, not unless we have an asthma attack or even with the mask. Right now, we put the mask on. What does it do? It blocks our natural flow of oxygen. And what does that do? It lowers our immune system. So, when I begin to look at all of this now, I've even gone back to school again, because I found another super class. And this gentleman has created music. Now I'm creating music with mine. So there's always another level to go to, because sometimes you can get stale in the level that you're on, but when it comes to our health and total well-being, we have to go as high as we can go, because we only get this one body. And the older we get and the wiser we get, then we should be using the tools and our toolkits to make sure that it's a part of our activities of our daily living, so that when we get older, we're not dealing with wondering if I'm going to have a stroke, wondering if I'm going to have a heart attack, what sickness and disease may show up, because I've not properly taken care of my body when I had the opportunity to. Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned something that we don't often want to address: food. It's a necessity. And I know for me, when I look at certain foods, and I just have a palate for certain things, not very, very often, but getting certain foods are comforting. Not only do they taste good, it just takes me to a euphoric place to have certain foods. I'm going to tell y'all what those certain foods are, but and historically, part of our upbringing, it wasn't taught that we needed to have some harmony, what was on the plate, the proportions on the plate, and all of that. So I think for women, we typically get those signs or symptoms, as you did, that third visit with your physician said, wait a minute, routinely, this has been high for 3 visits, right? It's when something triggers us to pay attention. And then there are other times when we don't want to pay attention because that consumption is so great. I know I got swelling on right? I know I'm taking in too much sodium, but it's that getting to that place of discipline and control. So really appreciate the work that you're doing and the secret sauce. And you mentioned going back to school. That's really phenomenal, because you're keeping up with the times. You're keeping up to say, hey, this is something present. And the other thing I heard you say is you had to search abroad. I love the fact that you didn't take what was offered you. You did your own research and you educated yourself so that you had something to compare that given data to what was printed data, and you went abroad. That was really breaking a mold, going outside of what you had thought, well, this is all I got to do. And how many of us take the physician's word to heart and say, oh, well, this is the medicine they put me on, this is what I have to take. Well, you chose to defy that. And it was another symptom your side was hurting, so you knew something wasn't right, right?
Mhm.
And I had this image come to me, the commercials that we hear. Take this, and it's going to help heal that. However, the side effects are going to be dry mouth. The one that gets me is when they say you might be sleepwalking. If you have symptoms of, and then wait a minute, that list of side effects that they just said, it's scripted so hastily. Did you hear what they said? Oh, really? The side effect is going to be worse than what I'm already dealing with. Well, why would I want to take that? Right. So, yeah, that was so great. Appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for sharing and encouraging others to research, go beyond what you're given, and do the work for yourself. You don't have to take it at face value. And I think that's a good segue over to Miss Latoya as we talk about food, high blood pressure. Go ahead, Miss Latoya, and tell us why you're on the journey that you're on related to promoting healing and providing healing and promoting health.
Absolutely. And I tell you, Miss Sarah and Eliza, y'all are on the right track when it comes to education. And that is my whole purpose here, and why I share and how Live Well with Latoya was birthed is because we lack the real education, the information that we need to make informative decisions about our own life and our own health. I target women, and I love to educate women on wellness because we are the keepers of the homes. As wives, as mothers, as sisters, as friends, we set the tone. And not only when we are taking care of ourselves and start living well and educating ourselves on how to live better, it rubs off or it transfers to our husbands, it transfers to our children, our grandchildren, so generation. I like to talk a lot about leaving legacies or transforming my health for my son, because I was a fat teen. I struggled with obesity pretty much my entire life, and in my adulthood, that is when I finally realized that I had to make choices for me. I had to choose to live well. I had to choose to eat well. I had to choose to make sure that I was taking care of me properly first, so that I could give back to others the best of me, and not what was left, or me taking the less of me after giving everybody else what I had. Um, when it comes to living well and making healthier choices, I'm glad that Elijah said that she researched her meds, because sometimes, like you said, those side effects is worse than the medications. But medicines do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself. If you are, when you, most of the time when you go to the doctor, the first thing they tell you is, hey, we got to lose some weight. Well, that seems too easy, or really it's too hard because you don't want to change your lifestyle. You don't want to give up those things that make you comfortable. And I tell you, Miss Vaughn, you ain't got to say what that comfort food is. We know most of us is cookies and cakes. We laid in the bed with ice cream, or we sitting up with donuts or dumplings. Like, we know the comfort foods, but that's what we've been introduced to. That's what we've been given. Anytime in family history, especially in the African American community, any celebration is going to be with food. And that good old Southern comfort food, that's what makes us feel good. And so as we grow up, or as we start passing that off as tradition, of course we pass off those health conditions as well. So my grandmother died of sugar. That's what a lot of people say. Well, it was diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, because what she was eating, it wasn't conducive to the living. Well, I picked up those same traits. I need cornbread and collard greens together. I can't just eat the greens without the bread. Or I need something sweet after every meal, because that's
Right,
how it was introduced to me as a child.
right.
And when I noticed that it was the habits, it was the lifestyle that I was living, that I was passing along to my own 14-year-old son that was struggling with obesity and being bullied because of his weight, I knew then it had to be a change. And if it was going to be a change, it had to start with me. And then I can eventually pass that on to them. So um, we all know that education plays a major part in the way the world is set up now. We have everything we need at our fingertips. So it is no reason why you can't get what you need. You just have to be willing to do those things. All natural supplements. It's funny to me when I offer people natural supplements and they, oh no, let me get with my doctor. Well, your doctor offers you medication and you're still sick. You're still struggling with the high blood pressure, with the diabetes. You're just going back to get the symptoms treated. You're not correcting those things. And our bodies are designed to refix, refine, and correct itself if you haven't taken it too far past recovery. And even if it is too far past recovery, it can still start fixing and repairing itself if you are willing to do the work, if you are willing to do the self-discipline, if you're really, really willing to educate yourself and take ownership of what part you play in your unhealthy lifestyles and habits. Not only is it yours, but you're going to pass that on. And I tell you, history repeats itself. Ain't nothing new under the sun. I mean, we know that from the good Lord. There is nothing new under the sun. And sometimes it takes us longer to get where we want to be because we're not disciplined or we choose not to change where we are today. It can be as simple as adding water. A lot of you, oh, I'm going to take a BC goodie powder, my head hurt. But you ain't had nothing to eat today and you probably haven't drunk any water. Start there first. Run into medicine. They got a pill for everything. And I don't want to get on the doctors at all. My goal is simply to educate everyone that you can change. You can choose to live well each and every day by the choices you make, and also by the practices that you're willing to do. So if you have unhealthy habits, that means you can have healthy habits. If you have unclean thoughts when it comes to how you say things to yourself and how you treat your body, that means you can have good, clean thoughts. You can speak positive affirmations in your life each and every day. You can choose to feel good every day. And if y'all don't know me, Latoya Carr Griggs has a party every day. I start my morning off with prayer, praise, and partying because I know the feeling of being sick and tired. I know the feeling of having to drag myself out of bed in the morning. I know the feeling of working. I did nursing for over 20 years. I loved serving people, but I was killing myself. So I had to learn how to take care of me so that I can help other people. And yeah, I'm still in the healthcare industry. I'm just in self-care now. So I moved out of healthcare. I'm more preventive and proactive than reactive. And that's what I like to teach women so that they can then teach their friends, their family, their children, and hopefully their grandchildren how to live well.
Latoya, you could have came off the cornbread. Now, see, my thing is not sweets. I absolutely love my vegetables, but I'm the one that I need the chopped onions and the cornbread with the greens, right? The one just complements the other. And I do take the cornbread in moderation. And I'm going to say this because growing up, you know, and you're in the state of Mississippi. My parents migrated from Mississippi to St. Louis. And we were supposed to be big boned. We didn't call it fat back then. They were just a little thick or a little big bone. That meant you were healthy, right? Because if you weren't, then you were too thin. You got bullied on either side. The ones that were trying in their teens and early adult life to live simplistic when it came to food consumption, you know, only eat what's going to fill you and not say that, oh, your eyes are bigger than your stomach, but you put it on that plate, you better eat everything on that plate. See, that was my upbringing. You put it on that plate, you were not getting up from the table till all of it was eaten. So we sometimes gorged ourselves to be overfilled, right? But looking back, that was expected because if you wasn't a little thick, then you were too thin, you were skinny, and you got bullied for being too fit, right? So yeah, education is so necessary. And I appreciate you saying the lies that we tell ourselves.
Amen.
What we start to believe about ourselves. We don't have to often fight what's been told from the outside. But what we start to believe for ourselves, oh, I'm just going to have high blood. Because then I was thinking, when you go to the doctor, the one thing they want to know, they do that checklist, and a lot of them are digital now, family history. Has there been stroke? Has there been heart attack? Has there been cancer? Has there been this? Because they're trying to identify what's in your DNA. And we have taken on that lie that my grandmother did have sugar. My dad did have high blood. My mom did die from congestive heart failure. Well, I'm going to die with something, so I might as well enjoy the journey, right? And just say that without being educated and taking that change on. So I appreciate the work that you're doing. You're from the health side, so you've got the practical and the natural working simultaneously. How wonderful is that?
That is awesome.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's awesome.
Right. And I think your clients can trust the fact that you're coming from the medical background over to the natural. So that's amazing. And speaking of natural, that takes us right over to Miss LaSandra, the natural health. Very similar to what Eliza is saying, breathing. Who would think that there's a benefit in breathing? We don't often think that we're breathing. We don't have to tell ourselves to breathe, but we know when we stop breathing or we have trouble breathing, right? But nobody tells themselves, okay, every so many seconds you're going to inhale and exhale. So let's talk about the work that you're doing, providing healing and promoting hope naturally with what your services are and why they're important.
Well, naturally with massage, I know there's been a lot of stigma, years past, associated with it. One, it's too expensive. I can't afford it. It's something I treat myself to when I go on vacation. So, let's get on the cruise and get a massage, or even the parlors that exist and the activities that go on there. So I know as far as massage is concerned, we've come a long way. We are governed by the state, so we have to be licensed. We have to get our hours in. We have to renew and get what we call continuing education credits every year. So along the lines of that medical piece, we have to be informed, we have to be educated, and we have to, like Ms. Eliza said, we have to keep up in our game and getting educated on the modalities, the way they enhance what your body can and can't do. And even from the sports side, a lot of athletes are engaging in massage therapy more and more for muscle recovery. So it covers a lot of aspects. And it's so funny, the ladies on the panel, what I do ties into what each of you, support. Like Miss Eliza, the breathing, we're always asking clients, to take a deep breath, and relax your body so I can feel where I need to go. Because so many people stay up here like this, I can't help you relax this until you take the first step and relax it first. What Miss Sarah was saying, the resources that are available to people who are having emotional trauma, getting on the table. A lot of people release, through crying. A lot of people release through talking. So, a lot of the time, we're also serving as a pseudo counselor, to some extent, to help them get through those processes. And even what Latoya was saying, which I thought was so funny, the body is intended to heal itself. You have to give it the tools to heal itself. And it's not so much as finding balance, as people say, or even being disciplined. It's prioritizing. Like, you really have to prioritize what's important to you. So, it's funny. I was watching a TV show the other day, which I need to get off of, but this one gave me good information. It had Montel Jordan on there, which, this is how we do it. He's a pastor now. And so he was saying, the way he balances his life with, still performing as well as being a pastor is prioritizing. He has to put God first. He puts himself next, and he puts his family right after that. So again, with receiving massage, you have to figure out what's important to you. Like, you have to prioritize. It's not a matter of finding time to squeeze in that 15 minutes. It's not a matter of, well, I got the kids and I have to do this and that and the third. Make time, prioritize yourself, put yourself first, because the opportunity to breathe, gives you that chance to relax. It gives you a chance to get in that fresh oxygen, to be restored. And then on the other side with massage, you have that opportunity to you change your mood. Just getting that physical touch, gives you an opportunity to change your mood. Like so many people have gone through a lot of issues here lately, just because of COVID, because we can't hug one another. Right. So there is a power and a healing in touch. I know a lot of people think it's very cliche. They think, it's just something to do. But the reality of it is a lot of people are healed through the power of touch. And that's just pretty much it.
Is there any particular massage that you recommend more than others? I know that there's Swedish massage, deep tissue massage. And how do you help your client determine what type they should be getting and how often?
For people that really have not experienced massage on a regular basis, we always encourage you to start out with a Swedish. It's a nice relaxing touch. It's a nice fluent touch. And the reality of it is we do have a lot of providers coming out of school, so they haven't developed their touch yet, but just be patient with them. And again, with creating barriers or even letting people know what your preference is, don't be afraid to speak out and say so, because you're paying for that time. That's the time you're paying for. So it makes no sense to get on the table and be like, oh, this was the worst thing ever, pay your money and then walk away. That's your opportunity to truly help the provider help you. It's teamwork. It's truly teamwork. So with that, I would definitely say start out with the Swedish if you're not a person who gets massage on a regular basis. There are a lot of modalities out there now that are really helping with that holistic movement. So the lymphatic drainage is really helpful. It helps, relieve that sluggishness that exists in your body. And this is one you can even do on yourself because it's so gentle. It's so, you can't hurt yourself, it's the massage is dummy proof, you can't hurt yourself. So, again, it's just one of those things where, you open up your lymph nodes here on the side of your ears, just push back and down. And then, just take that opportunity to let that fluid drain, down through and out, and there are other techniques too, but I forget which lady said it, but, YouTube has a ton of videos. Instagram, has a lot of providers that are, showing you different things to do. And even SpaKneads here in Dallas is right here for you to do that as well. So, there's an opportunity for you to self-educate as well as be treated, in that regard. And then there's another shiatsu, which focuses on your energy level. So, they use a lot of pressure points, a lot of acupressure to help you release that energy in your body, to help, get your chi in order, and help that energy flow the way it should flow throughout your body. And then I guess the final one for relaxation really is the hot stone massage, which I love because I truly enjoy heat. Let them work the stones with you. But again, this is an opportunity for you to tell them this is not warm enough. This is too hot. These are the areas I really want you to focus on. So again, it gives you an opportunity to have a level of control with your healing process or your recovery process, but also allowing someone to step into that space. Because I know for me, the reason I even picked up massage is really odd. I had always been in corporate and research and development with Motorola for a long time. And with that, I decided I need a switch. I need something different. I need to be able to actually have contact with people. And I went to school and I was so awkward in it. I didn't like it because we had to work on one another. I thought, we would just be working on other people and never get touched. And when they came to the point where people had to touch me, I'm like, whoa, this is a major adjustment for me. I've come from a family full of girls, we've done nothing but hug and kiss on each other, but not from anyone outside of that circle. So again, it gave me an opportunity to really tap into that power of healing and that power of touch and what it does for people.
I want to say that's great. The transparency that you shared, you can identify when your clients may be uncomfortable. Definitely. Because you yourself felt that discomfort and how you can ease them into that. When you're doing this lymphatic thing, I want to know, will it take away the fat jaws and the double, triple neck? Latoya is saying no.
There are some things that massage will help you with as far as the collagen, and the skin texture and the, what do you call it? Cellulite. So massage does help in those areas. There are things that you have to be consistent with. You can't just do it today and be like, oh, no results, I'm done. It's something that you have to truly make a part of your lifestyle. So to answer your question, it does really help with the condition of your skin. It does really help with collagen production and helping you stay, plump and full, and not get the wrinkles and, other pieces. And even for a lot of us that are big boned, we have, we have, the cellulite, on the backside. But again, it's just a matter of like, when you're in the shower, if you can just literally lather up the backside of your legs and just do sweep ups, you're getting a workout with your arms, and you're also, leveling out those portions that are a little dimply, a little not so pleasant to look at. But again, it takes consistency. It takes you prioritizing that.
I love it. I love it. Ooh, our audience has gotten some skills today, some tools and resources. I absolutely admire that. So I'm gonna be doing that towel rub. But Latoya said this, I can just give up. I'm not giving up on this. Well, let me say, you mentioned the collagen, oh my, ooh, if I could get back the money that I've paid for the skin tightening and the this and the that and the all that. And now I said, okay, God, whatever you have destined for me to be. Now I'm going to do my part. I don't do it as much as I should. I'm taking care of myself because I do want to live long and doing better.
Yes.
Doing better. But when we think about this whole health thing, it is sometimes costly, but then you all are giving practical skills that are less costly than the medication, the prescription for the medication. The breathing is something that, my God, the air, there's no limit of air that we can breathe in unless we're in an enclosed space, right? But that's something that we can all do, and it's not very expensive. So even when you're saying that, think about the money that we've often paid for products, the chemicals that we're putting on our bodies that can also cause health effects. As Sarah was saying, even that could lead to early miscarriage or loss of your fetus because of something else that you're putting into your body, or maybe even the environments that we're working in can be very, very toxic. So this has been very good, ladies. I really appreciate it. We're going to do a round robin for you, and I want you to let our listening audience know where they can find you, where they can follow you, where your products can be offered. I know LaSandra is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but tell them where you are, when you're holding your sessions, if you have anything virtual. And I'm going to start with me. My email, I think maybe up, but Joy Restored Outreach. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. You can find me by my name on Facebook, and what else? I'm not sure. But Joy Restored Outreach, you search for Joy Restored Outreach, you're going to find me. Again, it's been great being your host. I thank these lovely panelists for what they're sharing with our listening audience. Thank you for the audience that has joined us. And I really hope that you're taking some things away. And if there's something in the queue, and if there's something in the chat, because I can't see it, I'm sorry. That's the health thing. I need to work on my vision. I want to get LASIK. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. But no, Sarah, you and Ebony, y'all can see that. Okay, just let us know if there's any questions in the chat so that we can address those. And so I'm Bon. It's been great hanging out with you ladies this afternoon. And I think we absolutely should do more of this. So with that thought, I am launching a TV show very soon. And if you like an opportunity to have feature on that show, then you know where to find me, Von Griggs on Facebook. Even those of you in the listening audience, if you have information that you think is valuable and you want to share with a broader audience, follow me, joyrestoredoutreach.org, and send your contact information and we will follow up. So we're going to do our round robin. Any closing comments that you have for the audience, as well as where they can find you for your products and services. Sarah?
Yeah, I love that. And one of the aspects too that we brought up a little bit in the chat, but also just together is, we're not saying like all medication is bad. We're saying there are so many health aspects where it's our discipline, whether, like you said, diabetes, type 2, or whether it's high blood pressure, like things that we actually can take into our own hands. So, whether it's your doctor, whether it's your dietitian, whether it's your wellness, like it should be a conversation. It should be a team. You should be working together. It shouldn't be a one-sided, you need to do this or you need to do that, and not actually taking into account what you're saying and what you're feeling, and your side effects. Like if someone isn't listening to you, then you need to find someone else. It's so, so important. But yes, my name is Sarah Mitchell. I can be found on Twitter. Highly recommend you following Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Women Organizing Women Democrats. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. In fact, our YouTube channel, I have 4 uncomfortable conversations there. And there is just ways of saying like, okay, there's this topic that's very uncomfortable. How do we find that common ground and build from that? And then ELF Army of Light, Pregnancy Loss, Infant Death Support. You can find us at elfarmyoflight.org. And if you need to email us, it is info@elfarmyoflight.org. So truly, thank you, each and every single one of you. You have brought just so much hope and joy and just passion to what you do and to the audience. Like you're just amazing.
They have been amazing. Yes, this has been great. It's been great. Eliza, over to you, ma'am.
I wanted to say to you, when my father was younger, I used to see him doing facial exercises in the mirror, and I thought it was the funniest thing, but I adopted that same practice, and I get up when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm stretching up and I'm pulling, and I also have a product called Silica that I use. I drink it, and I do a facial once a week. That's part of my care for myself. I soak my feet in some Epsom salt, and I do a facial once a week. So, and it's really helped me just to be, and I actually do it for my husband too. So we have our pamper day too. So if you have kids, you should have your pamper day too, right? So
Oh yeah.
have fun, you know what I mean? And really, think about some of having those hard talks, if something's going on with your children or with your husband, it's a time, because you can't do that in the bedroom when you're ready to make love. You know what I mean? You can't do it at the dinner table all the time. Sometimes you have to have something aside, like a self-care practice that brings you all together, with the same kind of focus, and it's lighthearted. So that's something that I find is a lot of fun and very nurturing. But to contact me, you can reach me at thebreathingexperience.com. I'm in the process of launching the end of this month. I launched the first this month, but again, the end of this month, a 30-day intensive. You get a workbook with it, and you really shift up your life and learning how to monitor your blood pressure, get off of the medication, but you do have to work with your doctor. That is a requirement. And in the midst of that, you learn some self-therapeutic tools that help you to de-stress, decompress, and get into that kind of emotional soothing attitude towards yourself and dealing with the self-talk, because the thought life is huge, and when we learn to speak life and love to ourselves, it brings healing. It stops us from getting into the fight and flight and freeze syndrome constantly. So we have a lot of self-work to do, but it's a lifelong journey. There is no magic pill. You know what I mean? But being able to be committed and having an agreement with yourself to say that, you know what, I want to be healthy. I want to live healthy and have a quality of life that I love and I like. So once again, I'm Eliza, and you'll find me as Eliza Dukes Carter or Eliza D. Carter. I'm on LinkedIn as Eliza D. Carter. You can visit the website and have a 30-minute complimentary session with me. You only get one. And then also you can connect with me on TikTok, because I really have fun on TikTok. The Breathing Experience on TikTok and all of them, except for LinkedIn, Eliza D. Carter. So thank you for having me. It's been a joy and a pleasure to meet you all. And we do have to do this again because this is not a one-time conversation. People have to have it over and over again till they feel comfortable enough to take action. And action is where the freedom, the love, and the joy and the happiness of life exist.
Wonderful, wonderful. You all continue to like, tag, and share because the recording will be up and you never know. And perhaps you do know someone you think, girl, they should have been here. Well, you know what? They didn't make it. But you have the opportunity of sharing them so we don't leave any of our sisters behind. We're all wanting to provide healing where we can and offer hope. So be willing to share the information and help someone else on their journey. Okay, Miss Latoya.
All right. So I have just really enjoyed this conversation today with you ladies and get to meet you guys and hear your hearts. Definitely everything ties into play with our wellness. We have one body and it is our temple and we need to start treating it as such. And as you said earlier, with education and knowledge and the practicing, it's not going to come overnight. And I have to remind my clients, all the clients that I work with when it comes to wellness and weight loss, you're not going to wake up skinny. Everybody wants to wake up skinny. But if you would practice each and every day to make those moderate changes and choose those healthier habits, before you know it, you'll be to your goal. And not only you will be to your goal, but the people that are around you that love you, they'll be to theirs as well because you'll inspire them to change. And that's what it is about us as women. We want to inspire and empower everyone that is connected to us how to live a better and healthier lifestyle. Now, I know we talked about the doctors. You do want to work hand in hand with your physician, but you have a voice. You know, when it comes to medication, they're offering you their recommendations. But remember what they said first. They give you the simple steps first that you have to be disciplined enough to change. And even though you might struggle with high blood pressure or high cholesterol, diabetes, congestive heart failure, I heard that mentioned, those things, if you are willing to work and change your habits, and then maybe you can decrease your medicine and decrease before you know it, you don't need it. We're not saying quit it altogether, but we're saying work with your physician. Those of you that struggle or need mental health, is nothing wrong with talking to a therapist. Those of you that need to be relaxed and you're tensed and you don't know how to keep self-servicing, go get the massage. You know, this is now, right now, it's time. It's high tides. As my pastor said now is the time to do it. Don't put it off tomorrow because tomorrow may never come. And how often as women do we say, oh, I'll work on that. I'll get to that tomorrow. I'll get to that later. And later never happens. And so now our goals is to start doing it today. One little simple thing, and I'm going to leave you guys today with one simple thing that you can put into action right now that can change the rest of your life. That is increasing your water intake. For those of you that are not drinking enough water, water is life. Water is for your life. Increase your water intake. Cut out all the sodas, all the sweet juices, the high fructose corn syrup. Get you some water in your body. If you need to flavor it, squeeze you some fresh lemon. Like if you need to put you some fresh squeezed orange in it, whatever to get that flavor for you. But start there. Start there. That's one moderate change that you can do. The next thing I'm going to recommend is get some good night rest. How often do we hear our friends say how tired they are? They go to bed tired and wake up tighter. Get you some good night rest. Put you on some soundscapes or something that can ease your mind. Put on, most of you, when you start reading the Bible, you go instantly to sleep. Start reading the word. Get that in your life. Whatever it is that's going to soothe you so that you can have sweet sleep. Those are free options. That's something you can do for free. And then start adding in your vitamin supplements. I'm glad you talked about the skin and all of that. I have started taking the collagen peptides. My company offers an amazing collagen. And I've noticed, I'm 42 years old. I look the best I've ever looked. I feel the best I've ever felt, even from my 20s. But I know I'm taking care of myself now from the inside out. And all the covering up, we've glorified obesity so much now that our young girls think it is okay. Your health is on the line. We're
Yeah.
not depriving our children of anything but good health when we say, oh, they can't have cookies and cakes. They can have it in moderations, but it shouldn't be so easily accessed where they can eat that all day.
Mhm.
Where when they're coming to daycare, they already have hot Cheetos and candy, or you bringing them to daycare with donuts. How you expect them to function and learn when they're high off sugar? You
Mhm.
know, we have to start educating more, and don't feel bad for sharing what you know. And I get a lot of, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want any trouble. You need to. They don't know. They don't know. They really don't. And it's how you say things, not what you say, but how you say it is how you're going to help people when you're giving that information out of love. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, baby, I know I've been there. I know what you're going through. These single parents out here that's struggling, they trying to rob Peter to pay Paul and make ends meet. Give them a helping hand, a hand up instead of beating them down. Like share your knowledge. And then offer them, if you need to offer them a little assistance when it comes to how to go grocery shopping, share that. Shop the parameters of the grocery store. We don't eat anything out of a can or a box in my house. And if we do, it's every once in a while because somebody is giving it to us, or my husband done bought something. I'm like, don't buy no more. But I had to learn those things. And now that I know, I'm going to tell it. So for those of you that are looking to lose weight or live well, I just launched a Live Well with Latoya. It's a 6-week program where I teach nutritional planning. I teach meal prepping. I teach mindful, practical things that you can change each and every day, where it's not drastic, where you want to quit and give up and feel like a failure. It's a 6-week course. I said you have that one-on-one coaching with me, and you can find it on my website and go sign up, and you have access to me for that hour to get your wellness in order. For those of you that are looking for natural vitamin supplements, I offer that. You can look on the website as well. So you can always find me at LatoyaCarr-Griggs.com. That's the website, LatoyaCarr-Griggs.com. You can find me on Facebook at Latoya Carr Griggs. I'm on Instagram now at Latoya Carr Griggs, and Live Well with Latoya. So I'm getting more ways to educate the world through the Live Well program and the Live Well aspect. But this voice, y'all will hear more of. And I thank you, Miss Vaughn, for even having me, for considering me to share. You ladies have inspired me to keep going because the world needs more of what we have. So thank you so much for having me on the platform.
You are more than welcome. And as you said, reaching out to those others that may not know, they absolutely just may not know what's best, because what they're doing is if it wasn't passed on to them, perhaps it's so convenient, right? It's easy, and everybody is in a place of, well, not everyone, because I don't want to overstate that, but we're looking for what's quick. We're looking what's fast. We're looking for the microwavable meals. We're looking for it and not knowing that those are really not the best choices. And maybe we know it, but then we get into that pattern that, oh, it's quicker to do that than it is to prepare a meal. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, and how you're offering that with your coaching sessions, right? I want the collagen that's going to make me look like I'm 42. That's the only thing I want to order. The rest, I think I can do that. I want the collagen that's tighten me up. All right, over to you, Latoya, because LaSandra, because I know one technique I've already taken from you, and I am so amazed that it took this platform for me to learn that, and that's the towel session. I'm going to have that towel session. Yeah.
Well, ladies, everything that everyone else has already expressed pretty much ties into what I reinforce. From drinking your water, we always encourage the clients to stay hydrated. especially coming into the service, because there's so much that we're waking up. We don't want you to leave, icky or feeling uncomfortable, a couple of days later. Also, you are what you eat, so we encourage you to eat healthier, bring in foods that are going to restore and replenish you, as opposed to a lot of the junk that's out there in the market now, the quick foods, the fast foods. But to get a massage even every 2 weeks to a month, is basically doing your body good, because a lot of us are sitting at our desk, for long periods of time. So, you have this area here that's all congested. And I just encourage everyone to get an opportunity to stretch. Like Eliza was saying, her dad would do all these face exercises. It was pretty much stretching those muscles, especially if he was in a position where he was talking all day, or, having to even keep his mouth closed all day. It helps you wake up those areas. It helps you tone them, and it helps you keep them in the position to work the way they're intended to work. So massage does the same thing. We work to restore your body. We work to get rid of the muscle aches, for anyone who's having insomnia or a hard time sleeping. Massage helps you relax enough to be able to make it through the night with a decent night's sleep, and not just, popping up every 5-10 minutes for whatever reason. It's also good for, I know I've worked on people that have chronic illness, from cancer to cerebral palsy, having those restricted muscles, that's a discomfort for them, if not a lifetime of discomfort for them. So any opportunity to help open them up and alleviate that tension, is an awesome thing. So even for yourself, create a self-care program where even if you're just sitting at your desk and you just work your wrists, there's a lot of tension in the arms. Reflexology teaches us that every point in the body corresponds to points on your hands and the bottom of your feet. So even if you're just sitting at your desk, take your shoe off, make sure you do some good hygiene with your feet, but take your shoe off and just apply some pressure points going from that inside ridge and down the middle and down the outside, because you'll be covering your spine, you'll be covering your internal organs, and you'll be covering your limbs, in just those motions alone. So a self-care program for yourself is like the best thing you can do, and to incorporate any of the programs that the ladies are using would be amazing for you. But again, here in the Dallas area, SpaKneads is here to give you that on-demand service, meaning we come to where you are. So you don't have to worry about the stress of jumping in your car and driving across town and, making the appointment and, getting back home to the kids and whatever the issue is. We're here to make that process a lot easier for you. So, we carry licensed therapists, all governed by the state. A lot of us have been practicing for a very long time. So we have a lot of modalities under our belts to really help you get in tune with what your needs are, because a lot of people get on the table, they have no idea. So we're here to help you through that process. And again, SpaKneads it's spelled SPA, SPAKNEADS, needs, like needing you. So SpaKneads.com. It's the same thing on Facebook as well as Instagram. And feel free to reach out to us if you want to talk to someone at 214-838-2677. Thank you so much for this time, Ms. Vaughn. I really appreciate it.
You're muted. Oh, Vaughn, you're muted.
Oh, she can't see us.
There you go.
Okay, I need to rewind everything I was saying. Be sure to put your information in the chat. The chat will be saved. The recording will be up for future reviews, and you can continue to share, like and tag, and share from Facebook, equally so. And I really appreciate you all for celebrating what you do in honor of Women's History Month. And I was sitting here thinking, as I was moving my feet, LaSandra, because she was saying massage your feet. I'm over here moving my feet and want to make sure my posture is good and all. But I was thinking how many women have gone on to their resting place because they didn't have education or they didn't have support. Latoya, you mentioned inspiring others, finding that one that can say, I'll walk with you, or, hey, put that alarm on your phone. I'm just calling to remind you that, it's time to chug another bottle of water, whatever that is. Sometimes we do get tired and we do get sick and tired, and the routine can be challenging, but having that support system to inspire each other along the way is equally important. So find you someone that, is willing to share that journey with you. And if not, reach out to the women that are here and say, hey, I'm having a rough patch today. Okay, sit back, put your feet down, do it, and breathe. How are we going to breathe? What kind of breathing do I need to do right now? Yeah. So this has been awesome. It's been great. I really appreciate each of you donating your time and supporting our kickoff of Women's History Month, March 2022, where we are continuing to provide healing and promoting hope. God bless each and every one of you. Follow our panelists and let them know how much you appreciate the contributions and the wisdom and the tools and resources that they have shared with you. It's been great being your host. God bless each and every one of you. Oh, and Latoya said, you have problems sleeping, read that Bible, you'll fall asleep. Bye, everyone.